Hello, my name is Yeji, otherwise known as ANdmadeco here on YouTube and on Instagram. Today I'm coming at you with a shorter video of my finished objects, my works in progress, as well as some acquisitions at the end. And at the very end of this video, I also want to talk a little bit about just what my body is going through. And so if you want to skip that part, I totally understand, and I'll give a fair warning for if you do. First, let's start off with what I'm currently wearing. I'm wearing Asopo by Sari Nordland, and this is a pattern in her Softly Timeless Knits book that came out at the very end of last year, 2023. I knit my version in a size 3, and I used a US 7, a 4.5 millimeter needle for the body, as well as a US 6, a 4 millimeter needle for the ribbing. And I sized up a needle size, but I sized down a body size of what I would have been, which is a size 4. So I knit a size 3 instead of a 4 to get around the same gauge as a size 4 would have been. However, I probably should have just sized to a size 4, and even with the higher needle size, because I think it came out a little small and it's tight, especially in the arms. The reason why I'm showing you this cardigan today is because I'm currently taking out all of my garments from my wardrobe to film my what I made in 2024 garments video that will be coming out sometime later this week. And this is a cardigan that I completely forgot about because I haven't been wearing it. There are a couple reasons why, and one of them, the main one, I think, is because the arms are a little tight, and we'll get into that in a bit. But first, the yarn I use for this is Cascade Revive in Coral Haze. I think Cascade Revive might actually be discontinued. I got it off of Lil Knits, as I usually do, and I know Lil Knits has, I think, more Cascade Revive colors if you're interested. However, the Cascade Revive is quite rustic. I can feel it against my skin, especially because the arms are cabled and they are very tight. So there's a lot of texture on my skin right now. And also, I'm wearing this with a t-shirt underneath. And also, the Revive yarn was a little rough to work with. It just felt very dry, and I'm not sure why that is with specifically the Revive yarn. And it's something that I also talked about in my tier ranking my husband's sweaters video, except his version of the Ingrid sweater man that I made with Cascade Revive as well turned out beautifully, and he says that it's not itchy at all. And I think that might be because his had a slightly looser fabric, whereas I used a worsted weight yarn, and I probably should have used a DK weight yarn for this pattern, so it is my fault. Let me briefly stand up to show you what the cardigan looks like. So I made my Asopo in the beginning of February, and it didn't take much time at all. I think it took me less than a week, which is great. And it was made with a worsted weight yarn, so I guess it makes sense. And I was focusing all of my energy on having this cardigan to wear for Valentine's Day, which I didn't really end up doing. The construction of this cardigan at the very beginning is a little fiddly to do because you have to knit the ribbing for the collar, a small section of it at the beginning, and then you put that on waist yarn, and then you knit from there the trapezoid for the drop shoulder, and you pick up for the front. So I think all in all, it was a really interesting construction, a little fiddly, yes, but at the same time, I got through it, and it's all of my, if I do have mishaps are on the back, so nobody can see it. I like that you have the bigger collar, the fold over collar, where you increase at the right here so that you have a larger fold over part, and then you decrease again, so it makes it a really nice streamlined edge. A little modification that I decided to do is that I decided to do, instead of purl ridges, which the underside of your arm would be, I decided to just knit it when I picked up in the round to do the sleeves, so you see the knit side of the fabric instead of the purl side. Other than that, I think I followed the instructions completely for picking up for the sleeves, and that's where the biggest problem is with this cardigan and its fit on me, is that the sleeves are a little tight, and I wish I picked up 10 to even 20 more stitches so that I would have a looser fitting sleeve like the model does in the photos. This is a cardigan that I've completely forgotten about since I've made it because I don't really wear it because of the issues that I talked about. And so I will be donating it, but I still wanted to show it off in a video and talk a little bit more about it. I haven't filmed the what I made 2024 garment edition video yet. So I'm not sure exactly how much detail I can get into each pattern then, but because I wanted to just talk a little bit more about the construction, I would love to make another one of these someday with better fitting fabric for the garment that I want. And in that, I would probably choose to cast on some more stitches for the sleeves. And also, if I did make another version, I would probably make the arms a little longer. So with that, let's jump into my finished objects of the week. And I have two finished objects. The first one I already showed you last week, my work in progress of it. And that is Nicole from the Gnomes of Grimblewood. And this is a pattern by Sarah Shira, or imagined_landscapes on Instagram. And before we jump into the gnome, I want to give a special thank you to Stephanie from Edible Thoughts Makes for shouting me out in her video. Thank you. And I'm so happy that more people are making gnomes, or I'm just maybe seeing it more on my content just because I'm posting so much about the gnomes that I've been making. But I'm pretty positive that this is my last gnome of at least this year. So we'll see. I know Sarah is doing a Gnomes of 2025 make-along where she'll draw prizes. I'm not sure I can participate in that for every single month that it's running, but we'll see what happens. And for Nicole, I used a US 5, a 3.75 millimeter needle, and I held each of these balls or each strand of yarn double. So I used Wool of the Andes Sport Weight in Winter Night from Knit Picks, as well as white and mink heather for the base. And it turned out very cute. It was quite big. I would say it was quite like this big when I finished it. And I've gifted it to my sister so she can send it. I think she's sending it to Hawaii, so she'll need a little extra time for it to get there in time for Christmas. But I'm so happy I'm done. It turned out beautifully. I love the detail of the curly beard. I think it's really fun to make too. I just steamed mine, let it dry, and when I unraveled it, it was curly like it was in the photos, and I just love this gnome. The only thing with this gnome, as I talked about last time, is that because I did mine on such a tight gauge where I held two sport weight yarns that are quite rustic and thick double on a US 5 3.75 millimeter needle, when I was doing the cables, my hands did kind of cramp up. But when I was doing the body, it was fine. And when I was stuffing it, nothing showed through. It was very dense, just like I wanted. So I'm very happy about it. Thank you for tagging me in all of your stories, posts, and sending me DMs of gnomes. I love seeing them on my feed. And just when I get a notification and it's about a gnome, it makes me really happy. It really makes my day. And so thank you very much for that. My next pattern is an accessory, and it's a test knit for Alicia Plummer. And I don't think it has an official name yet, but she's been calling it Cozy Little Mittens. So to refer to it as that, but it might not be the final finished pattern name. And when I do find out, I'll definitely post about it and share with you here as well. This is what it looks like. I'm actually going to take my cardigan off now because it's very warm and I feel like the colors kind of clash with this cool pink versus the coral. So let me come back. So this is what the fingerless mitts look like. It has this beautiful thumb detail on it. It's made of worsted weight yarn, so it finished up so quickly. I think it turned out very beautifully. I'm just putting it on. So on my hands, this is what it looks like. I made the size medium and I used the recommended needle size, which is a US 7, a 4.5 millimeter needle, as well as a 3.75, which is a US 5 millimeter needle. And it turned out so nicely. There's no tightness to any of it. All of my movements are free. I didn't make any modifications at all. I followed it exactly to the pattern. I think I might have made my garter ridge here maybe 1 or 2 rows higher than what you would see in the pattern, but that's all recommended to do for the length you wanted in the pattern as well. So this only took 42 grams for the pair, and I think it's a perfect little accessory that you can make to gift, and it only takes, I would say, 1 or 2 days to make. Or I mean, even if it takes longer, it's not a ton of knitting just because you don't need to really do any grafting or make, up the fingers or the thumb. The gusset is very easy to do. You increase within the pattern, so there's not real any seaming. And I didn't have an issue with the pattern at all. So I'm very happy to have a pair of fingerless mitts. I think this is going to be a gift. I just don't know to whom yet. The yarn I use for this is Wool of the Andes Knit Picks, Wool of the Andes worsted weight in Pink Posy Heather. If you have 50 grams laying around, then I feel like this is definitely something you can make. I made the size medium and I still had 8 grams left over, so I'm not sure if you could get away with making the size large, but if you have around 50 grams, then you can definitely make it for, I would say, a very average hand. I will be posting about these mitts when the pattern is released, so keep an eye on my Instagram if you are interested. So for works in progress, this object is mainly what I've been working on this week, other than finishing up all of my finished objects. And so this is it. I have the body done, or I have the top of the body done. This is Dream Vest by Fest Nets that I talked about, and it's for my sister, my younger sister. And this is knit in Pearl Soho Good Wool in Pale Patina, as well as the Fiber Co. Zero and Seraphic held together. And together they make such a nice combination. This is a very light green as well as a silver, and it gives a heathered effect to the blouse. So this is a vest, but it's one of those where you tie it at the sides. And this is, as I said, Dream Vest by Fest Nets. This I'm knitting a size extra large. I think I have a lot to say on this pattern, and I think I'll probably say it next week when this vest is finished. But I just want to let you know that I'm working on it, and the construction of it is interesting in that you knit from bottom up for the first part, and then there are ruffles at the bottom, and that you knit from top down. So I did block the top part as is recommended in the pattern, and the finishing is just the selvage edges on the top and the sides, and the shoulders are seamed. This will definitely be a finished object by next week, so I'll talk about it then so that I'm not super repetitive in my information, but you do knit it with a US 8, a 5mm for the body, and then for the I cord that you do it on a US 4, a 3.5mm needle. This isn't really a true I cord, it's more of a double knitted cord, and you have to make 4 of these, and they're 45 centimeters or 17.5 inches long each. Mine are slightly shorter because they do stretch. So I will make 3 more of these and then add on the hem for the ruffles, and we'll talk about it in our next video. So for my current works in progress, the Dream Vest is really all I have. My Dagmar jacket has fallen to the wayside, and I think I might actually pick up another project that's more working in the round after this, just because the Dream Vest is all worked flat, and so we'll see what happens there. I also wanted to say thank you to Inspired by Fiber on Instagram on my 2024 makes for my accessories video. I mentioned that I really didn't like this pair of socks, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them other than put it up on Buy Nothing. But Inspired by Fiber mentioned that there's a charity currently called Socks for Sam, and it's for awareness in vanishing white matter disease. And so I'll have the link for everything down below, and you can send your socks in. You can even send one in, I think, instead of a pair. And they will auction it off to raise money, to raise awareness for this disease that is very rare, and there's not a lot of research on it right now. So I will be sending these in as soon as I can get to the post office. Next, I want to get quickly into some acquisitions that I got. And I mentioned this last week, but all of my purchases from Small Business Saturday as well as some Black Friday are coming in. And I think I now only have 2 more shipments that are coming in, but I got, as I said before, 1 skein from each of these companies, which I do feel bad about, but I really just want to try their yarn. First is the Scranton Stitcher, and this is an electric love, and this is a super, super bright pink. I would love to make a hat with this. I've been saying for a lot of these single skeins that I've been getting that I want to make a hat with it, so I see a lot of hats in my future. This is a fingering weight yarn. It's in their original sock base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and it has 463 yards for 100 grams, so it is a quite thin fingering weight. I probably will hold this double to make a DK weight for a hat. Next is from Dusty Yarn Co. And this is called HRH. Not sure what that means. I think HRH is Her Royal Highness. HGH, I'm not sure. But this is a very true red. I think it might lean a little, no, it might lean a little orange, but it seems pretty true. And this is in Classic DK, 100% superwash merino wool, 246 yards for 100 grams. This will definitely become a hat. The last skein that I have for this week is Tandem. It's West Wool Tandem, and it's from Stephen and Penelope. And this is in Tandem Royal, and it's a very true royal blue. This is a DK weight yarn at 233 meters or 254 yards at 100 grams. And comparing Tandem Royal to Wool of the Andes, the sport weight winter night that I have that I said last week was a darker royal blue, but not yet a navy, you can just tell the shade differences in the two. Because most of the single skeins that I bought, I'm intending to make accessories with it. They are pretty bright in color, as you can see. And I feel like I should buy more bright colors because whenever I get them in the mail, it makes me very happy. I just need to make a lot of objects out of it and then see how much wear I get out of each of the objects so that I know which of the bright colors are truly for me. Next, I want to talk a little bit about my body changes, but if you're not here for that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again later this week in my What I Made in 2024 Garments Edition. So I know body changes and anything to do with your body obviously is very, very personal, and it can be also very private as well as somewhat taboo to talk about, but I wanted to mention just because when I see my past videos even, or when I see pictures of what I went through in 2024 as I'm preparing for this next What I Made in 2024 video to come out, Garments Edition, I see all the changes that my body has gone through and I wanted to address it so that it doesn't seem disingenuous or that I'm not presenting a different type of reality to people who might be watching my videos. So I won't go too far into detail or about my history, but starting at the end of 2023, I was pregnant, and then in 2024 in April I gave birth, and then so from then I've been postpartum. So I gained a lot of weight from my first pregnancy and my second pregnancy, and I didn't necessarily lose all the weight from my first going into my second, as is the case. And so my daughters are almost exactly 2 years apart. After my pregnancy in April, I knew that I wasn't happy with my body, but I was nursing, and of course my hormones are going crazy. They probably still are. And so I was waiting for that to fade a little bit. After I stopped nursing, I did some intermittent fasting starting in August. And then in middle of September, after talking to my doctor and getting some medical consult, I decided to go on Zepbound, and which is what I'm currently on. And Zepbound, if you don't know, is like Wegovy, Mounjaro, Ozempic. It's a GLP-1 medication where it aids with weight loss, and that's what I'm currently on. I am probably going to be on it until sometime next year, and so my body will change probably a lot until then. I'll probably lose some more weight, and then most likely when I get off of it, I'll gain some of it back as is normal. And so I just wanted to be upfront about it because my size, especially my bust size and my upper half, are constantly changing. And as somebody who posts a lot of videos as well as posts on just like finished objects, and I like making garments, so you see a lot of my body, and I wanted to address it at the end of this video because I think my next video of my garments, you'll see some changes definitely of when I first took finished object photos versus now, or the current finished object photos that I'm taking. As my bust size is constantly changing at this stage, I wanted to be truthful and honest about what I'm currently going through. As a tangent, my main objective in this weight loss is so that I can fit into my engagement ring again, which will be very exciting for me personally because I haven't had it fit since I was in my last trimester with my firstborn. So I think the last time I wore it was in late 2021. That's all I wanted to say about my body. If you do have any questions, feel free to DM me or leave a comment, depending on what you're comfortable with. And if you do want me to talk more about my experience, then I could do that some other day. I'm still very much going through the process, so I cannot speak for everybody and everybody's experiences. And of course, I did consult with my doctor, and we chose this to be the best way forward for me, for myself personally. So I hope you understand. Thank you so much for watching. If you did get until the end of this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.